Hi everybody, it's Mike again from We Are Bawtry. I'm here outside the fantastic Crown Hotel in Bawtry. Going to take the interviews up a notch a little now, and we're going to be interviewing Nick Fletcher. He was formerly our sitting MP, but now that Parliament's dissolved, we're waiting on the election on July the 4th, so we're going to go a little bit behind the man, behind the myth, and behind the legend that is Mr. Nick Fletcher. See you inside. Hi everybody, I'm Mike from We Are Bawtry. I'm sat here today with Nick Fletcher. Now, Nick will be known to many of you as our sitting MP. Parliament's dissolved now, so he's no longer a sitting MP, but he is actually also a proud resident of Bawtry. So I'm going to pass you on to Nick just to give us a little bit of a short bio about himself. Nick.
Thanks for doing this, Mark, and it's great that Bawtry has been promoted this way. Nick Fletcher, born and raised in Armthorpe and moved to Bawtry 23 years ago. It seems like yesterday. Both my kids have grown up here, and it is absolutely a fantastic place. So I'm really pleased that you're doing this. Left school at 15, became an apprentice electrician at Doncaster Plant Works, where the Mallard and the Flying Scotsman were built.
All right.
And after I finished my apprenticeship, I was asked to rewire the London Underground trains after the King's Cross fire. I don't know if you remember that. It was quite a terrible incident. But they brought the trains up to be refurbished, so I refurbished those. And then unfortunately I was made redundant, so that's when I set up my own business. And for the last 30 years, I've been the proud owner of an electrical contracting company. And when I became the MP in 2019, I put a manager in place, and they've been looking after that ever since. So that's a very, very brief Nick Fletcher so far.
So what about your roots? Where was your mum and dad? Were they miners or?
No, my dad.
Your dad, not your mum.
Yeah. My dad worked at what was ICI Fibres. It became DuPont. My mum worked at, she works on Doncaster Market, but she also worked at the local Ashton Nephew for a few years. But as we grew up, she did an awful lot of child minding. She looked after a lot of children. She loved kids. I was one of three, and yeah, she just had a heart for children. So my dad's an artist. He's very good. He's 82 and he's still painting now. So he's really good at that. So mum was from Cantley, dad was from Edenthorpe, and they moved back to Edenthorpe when I left home because I was the youngest, and they didn't want to stay in the house where they brought the kids up anymore. They wanted to make a clean break.
So have you only ever lived in the Doncaster area?
Yeah, 51 years. Armthorpe. I did move to Wheatley for a couple of years. Then back to Armthorpe, and then I moved into Bawtry in 2001, 2, somewhere around there.
So full on local guy doing something for his community. Yeah,
definitely. That's why I got involved in politics. There were two main reasons. Well, there was a third one. The third one I'm talking about really was it was a time around after the Brexit vote, and it was obviously very chaotic in Parliament, and I wanted to go down there and sort them out. But the two main reasons were I wanted to help the young people of Doncaster, but also Doncaster itself. I think it's a wonderful place. I think it has got wonderful people, but I think it could be so much more, and that's really where my heart is.
So, if you haven't gone into engineering, the young Nick Fletcher is 6 years old, is watching TV and all that sort of stuff. What's the dream?
I wanted to be a pilot. That's what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, I had my vision wasn't perfect, and when I got to 15, I realised that was something that wasn't going to happen. And like many 16-year-olds, we don't know what we want to do. Both my brothers had gone into apprenticeships, gone into engineering. So I actually went into engineering. I was going to be a tool maker of sort, but after a year in that, I thought electrics was probably the better thing for me to get into. So I changed my apprenticeship and became an electrician.
Pilot was the dream.
Pilot was the dream, yes. Did
you never think of mixing the two, maybe joining the RAF, doing sort of engineering with the Air Force?
Yeah, I did think of it, but it never got much further than much further than I thought.
A fleeting
really.
glance.
So, yeah, but
it'd have took you away from Doncaster, that's why, unless you got RAF Finley
there you go, you see.
Do you know what I mean? Those strings.
I may never have been that member of Parliament if I'd have joined
There'll be some people applauding that.
There probably is, yeah.
So we ask the same set of questions whoever we speak to on this. Now, cornfields aside, what's the most adventurous thing you've done that you can tell us about without it affecting your parliamentary career?
For my 40th birthday, my wife bought me a parachute jump.
Right.
And this was not on the back of anybody else. This was a solo jump. So yes, 3,500 feet, jumping out of a plane was probably.
Did you told her you wanted to do that?
Well, I was watching a film. Called Point Break. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze in it. And apparently
There's a look of Keanu in you.
Apparently I said, that must be fantastic when they were doing the skydiving. So she bought me a parachute jump. So I was dreading turning 50 because I thought she might
What's she going to get me for that?
Yeah, swimming with crocodiles or something. But anyway, no, alas, no, nothing quite like that. So no, it was good.
Never say anything like that to a woman. It's immediately taken down in evidence to be used against her at a later date. She'll have clocked that and thought, no, you'll be wing walking next.
I did say I would never do it again, but yeah, it was good to do.
Yeah.
It was good, yes. And they put a target on the floor and I was 3 foot away from the target.
You have the toggles? I've done it all.
I had the toggles, yeah.
I've done it all. Good. With your emergency chute and everything, you've got to punch it. Yeah, I've been there.
All very good.
I've been there. So, speaking not as a sitting MP, but as a local resident of Bawtry, I know I see you out and about, you support the place, you put your money behind the bars, you put your money behind the counters, as I do. But what do you think Bawtry needs as a resident, not as a member of Parliament, as a resident? What do you think Bawtry requires next?
Well, I think one of the biggest issues that I hear about and I see is the parking. It is, you continually see and hear people struggling with the machines. I generally do think if we made it free for an hour, it'd really help. And then if people want to stay for something to eat, then I think people are prepared to pay a couple of pounds if they're staying for something to eat. So I think parking is a real issue. There's empty shops, but I know we're actually. I know Ross is doing some real good work on that, and I know we've got some good people, good businesses coming into it. But I think we've all got a duty of this. As you find doing my job, is that we can always often blame different people for things, and I think we all need to do our bit, and we all need to spend that money locally if we can. We do need to support the butchers, we do need to support the bakers, we do need to go into the shops and spend. And there's some. Bawtry's got some shops that sell obviously some of the really expensive items, but there's an awful lot of good shops here that sell.
I've got some good boutiques, yeah.
Good
some
boutiques,
nice,
which is they're not too expensive as well. So I think if we get the parking sorted out and we could all speak up about Bawtry, I think the power of people saying positive things is huge, and that sometimes it is difficult in my job sometimes, because you sometimes have to point out the negative to actually get any traction to make them better. But generally, I think we should all speak well of where we live. If we don't like it, then you've got to ask yourself your question: why are you here? If you understand. So, and we are all here. I think we're extremely fortunate. I think it's a wonderful place. It's got everything, and yeah, I think we just need to start speaking it up, spending a little bit more local, and trying to sort the parking out. Which
I think you're absolutely right on being positive about it. That's the whole point of me and Darius doing this page. Is point of it.
I think we're of an age as well. I do think probably, and it's one thing that I've tried to do across. In this job that I'm in now, and that's getting the youth clubs open for the kids. We've got Memorial Sports Ground, which has got a fantastic cricket club. There's football clubs. There's taekwondo going off at Newhall. There's lots of things like that. But I do believe that anything that we can do for the young people, because you are 10 miles away from town, you can be quite isolated if you've not got a car sometimes. So I think if we could do something, we could literally speak to the young people and say, what do you want? It used to be a youth club in my day. It might be some variation of that. But I think that's what we really need to maybe try and do as well. I want to give a shout out for the theatre that we've got here as well, Phoenix Theatre. It is absolutely fantastic. These past couple of years I've been quite a few times, and it really is a great place. So yeah, we're very, very fortunate. And I mean, no matter where you are, there's always some things that you would like tweaking here and make a little bit better here. But no, I mean, look where we're sat. I mean, this is a great place too.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
we've got Bawtry Hall up there, the history in that place. We're going to be doing one of these in Bawtry Hall, and we're going to sort of get down into the depths of it and actually have a look around and see. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, it's got a lot going for it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
A lot going for it. Take a step back and going back again, way back in time to the 70s for you. So Nick Fletcher's 10, 12 years old. And you're seeing him now with all your knowledge in your head. What advice would you give yourself as a child going forward? So what do you know now that you wish you knew then, in other words?
I think often when you're young, you can worry too much about what other people think. And I think you've just got to sometimes do what you think is right. And do what you want to do. And I think that can follow us all the way through his life as well. I think you can have imposter syndrome. I shouldn't be here. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm not good enough to do that. I can't do that. And I just think them negative thoughts that come into your head, and they can come in very young. I think you need to try and push them to one side. Believe in yourself. Truly believe in yourself. And if you can, you will. I was brought up with the phrase, I can and I will, not I can't and I won't. And those words stay with me now. I can and I will. And that's what I thought when I became an MP. When I started that journey to become an MP, I can.
It'd be pretty intimidating though, as a Yorkshire lad with not the polished accent, going into the Houses of Parliament with people that have been there for years, a lot of career politicians in there. I'm not saying imposter syndrome, but almost a bit of like, myself.
I mean, I've stood behind the seat where Winston Churchill stood, and I've had to stand up and speak when that place has been full, and there's 650 MPs, and they're all jeering or cheering, depending. And it can be quite intimidating. I need to get back down there, because this last year, I do genuinely believe I've become so much more confident at it. People are listening to me now. I don't think they necessarily listened to me in that first couple of years. There was a lot going off. Obviously, COVID got in the way. But I genuinely do believe people are listening to me. They know I'm talking sense, and they're getting a feeling that, Nick's in it for the right reasons here. He wants to make Doncaster and this country a better place, which is what I want to do. And I know it can be. And there's so much noise around politics that it's very difficult sometimes to get on with what you need to do. But regardless of what's gone off, I've continued with my role modelling project with for kids at schools. I've continued shouting up for the airport. I've continued shouting up for a new hospital. I've continued shouting up for Doncaster Town Centre. I've always done that, even though we know there's lots been going off around. But Nick Fletcher, 10-year-old, work really hard, believe in yourself. I can and I will. And other people's opinions. Yeah,
it's probably more prevalent now though than it was when we were kids, because you've got social media now.
Yeah, social media for young people is really cruel. Difficult. Yeah,
it's cruel.
You've got to look who's speaking into your life. I think that's what you need to do. And as the people that are speaking into your life, are they the people that you want speaking into your life? And I think parents have got a huge job with that as well. Who's speaking into your child's life? So when they're on that mobile phone, who's actually speaking into their child? And have they got your child's best interest at heart? Because I'm not sure many of them do have.
I doubt it.
Where as a parent, I know as a parent, all I ever want is the best for my kids. Nothing else, just the best. And that's what I want. And so when you've got other people speaking in, it can be really, really difficult. And as I say, if you post something, if kids post something now, it's other people's opinions that will really affect them. So if they post something that they can be proud of, or something that they've done well, and somebody's pulling that down, that can have a real negative effect.
Massive.
So I think we've just really got to be We've got to be careful about that. We need to look after his kids. And the mobile phones, although they can be a fantastic thing, they can be a really damaging thing too. And I think time down with them is so
It's
important.
affecting mental health massively in kids, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, great answer. Great answer, that one. So, Nick, as part of these interviews, we always try to get people to do a little bit of brevity. So we always ask them to tell us a joke to the camera. So bear in mind there's going to be kids watching this. Keep it clean. What's your favourite joke?
So I told my wife she was painting her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. That is a full-on dad joke. We need the Nick Fletcher parliamentary dad joke. Right, just like to thank Nick for sparing us an hour on a very busy day. He didn't buy me a pint like he said he would for being late. I'll catch up with him later on that one. But Nick, over to you just to say a little bit to the camera about, I know there's something quite close to your heart, if you just want to give a quick plug.
Thank you for that, yes. I do quite a lot of running. I ran the London Marathon back in 2021, which was fantastic, although I said I'd never do that again. But I am running the Great North Run in September, and I'm doing that for a wonderful charity called the Teenage Cancer Trust. I spent much of my time trying to help young people. That's one of the reasons why I got into politics, and I cannot think of anything worse really than the young people being diagnosed with cancer. So it's a fantastic charity, and if you can spare a few pounds for that and sponsor me, then that would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
We will post a link to that on this page as well in the comments. Nick Fletcher, thank you very much for your chat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.